Good afternoon, everyone. I get a lot of comments about people watching the videos and saying, it's a really fun game. It looks like I love watching it, but I don't think I can ever get past the UI, which is a problem a lot of old games have. So I thought I'd do 2 little videos describing what everything does in the UI and sort of what the game loop is for the original XCOM files. Now, before we do anything, I don't recommend you play the DOS versions of the game anymore. You can go to openxcom.org and download OpenXcom. It requires the original game files to run, but it's a new exe that's fully moddable that works on pretty much everything, even including Windows 98 if you're one of the 12 people who still run that. So that said, I will post a link to Ivan Dogovich's video about how to install OpenXcom, as well as some of the major mods out there. All right, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to start a new game. And now the way the difficulties work, there are basically 3 difficulties. Beginner difficulty is, of course, the easiest, and what it does is actually lowers all the aliens' armor. So it makes them easier to kill, easier to basically hurt them, right? Experience through Superhuman, all the alien stats are basically the same. Minor differences, but they're basically the same, and the major difference is the number of enemies you find on a mission. Superhuman is the maximum amount of enemies, and it can actually be easier in some mods on Superhuman because you get a lot more loot if you can survive, which sort of boosts the economy of the game. Iron Man, everyone knows what Iron Man is. All right, we'll just throw it up here. Very beginning, you will be asked to place a base. Your first base is free. Now, the 3 rings you see are your radar ranges. The smallest one is your small radar, which you immediately start with. The larger one is the large radar, and the final one is the maximum ring, which you won't get until you research some alien technology. So I love putting my bases here. That's my favorite base. It's actually not in any alien flight paths, so it actually prevents some early infiltrations. You can either use a standard base. I always design my own bases, and I'll show you my basic base here. And it goes, it goes like this. Hangars are where you keep your crafts. Living quarters are where you guys live. General stores is where your stuff is. This is the radar I was talking about. Radar, and then we have our laboratories where we research, and our workshop where we build things. Alright, so now we're officially in the game, and we'll run through the menu options. This moves the time around. This moves the planet around. In DOS, the old DOS days, you couldn't click on the map. You could do that now. You can even middle click and do that. So your basic buttons. Intercept. This controls your craft. In the beginning, you have Sky Rangers and Interceptors. Sky Rangers are your troop ships. Interceptors are your interceptors. This brings you to all your bases. You can have up to 8 bases in the game at any one time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And we will go in that part later. Graphs are, they sort of tell you what you can't see. Most people will be using this one in the beginning. If you click here and you go to your score, this is a very important number. Depending on your difficulty, if you get below a certain negative score 2 months in a row, you will lose the game. There are only 2 ways to lose the game. 2 months of really bad score, or 2 consecutive months, or 2 consecutive months with more than $1 million in debt. If you get a really bad score 1 month and then you get up to a 0, or even a great positive number 1 month and then get a huge negative score the next month, you haven't lost the game. You're fine. Same goes with money. All right, let me just do a little temp here. And I want to show you how you can use the graphs real quick, how they work later on in the game. We're just going to go load a game from an old playthrough we did. And it will crash if I advance the time too much, but you can see the graphs here. All right, so let's turn this all off. You can use the graphs to scout where you don't have any bases. Let me take this for example. This is how a normal graph looks. You'll have this huge spike with UFOs flying by, and then you'll go down to the 10 and 20 points, and that's not a big deal. But if we go somewhere here where we're consistently at 100 and something points a month, then we know something's going on there. And we can see right here in North Africa, I have an alien base. All right. You don't need to do alien bases. As you can see, they don't generate that many points in a month. This is easily countered by one small UFO mission. So don't worry about bases, but that's much later in the game. Right, we'll go back to our temp. Moving on, we have the UFOpedia. Read this. Read all the articles in here. They will explain all your crafts, what they are, all the weapons, stuff like that. If you're playing a new mod, make sure the first thing you do is read the UFOpedia. They will often have articles explaining the metagame for that mod, special hotkeys, stuff like that. These are your standard game options. I'm not going to go through any of this stuff here. This is all stuff you can play with. This is more about how to actually play the game. And then your funding. You start with these numbers, and you can get up to a 10% increase per country each month. So a lot of people like to start their first base in USA because you have that nice one there. The only way to lose a country is if an alien does an infiltration mission, which is one of the, I don't remember, 7 mission types they can do. If they start one, you will lose the country. You will not lose the game if you lose every country there is, although I don't think you can lose Russia because of how the game is coded. But all this is your static income, and it's not that much. You will wind up making more money manufacturing as the game goes on. So what is the XCOM game loop? You basically, what you do, if you haven't played any of the newer XCOMs, you spend money to research new weapons and items, use those to kill aliens, research their stuff, and find a way to take them out. And that's really all it is. So let's go into, you can see I research laser weapons right here. Some people like to do medikits first, some motion scanners. I like laser weapons. They're always useful. They become your primary source of income as the game goes on, and medikits aren't useful if you can't survive a shot from an enemy. I don't really use these until much later in the game when we have powered armor. All right, so you can do a couple things. Your first base is free, as I said. You can build a base anywhere on the globe you want. When you do it, you're going to want to maximize your radar coverage and really focus on the bigger circles instead of the smaller ones. You will be getting rid of the small radar ASAP, and actually one of the first things I normally do is I will go and build a large radar right here. All right, and other thing you might want to do is also build an alien containment right away. And I'll drop that right there. So now we'll be able, in 18 days, if we capture a live alien, we'll be able to bring it back and research it. In the very beginning, you can't manufacture anything. So we'll run the time down and get that done as soon as possible. All right, going down, build base information. This is your basic stuff. How many soldiers you have, how many engineers, how many scientists. This means we have 10 and then 10 available out of 10 total. We have all our scientists on a research project. Always have your scientists researching as long as you have something. And I have all my soldiers equipped on a craft, which we'll see in a second. Living quarters, we can hold 50 with one living quarter. We have 28 total. Same thing with stores, 40 space used out of 50. Our laboratories can hold 50 scientists, and our workshops can hold 50 engineers, or X number of engineers minus the space required to build something. We'll see that in a second. It's really simple. We just started our alien containment. We'll have that later on, and then we have 3 hangars, and they're full with 3 crafts. You can build base defenses. It's not something I recommend you do until you get the very final one called Fusion Base Defense, because it's an all or nothing thing. You need to have enough base defense to destroy the big UFO coming to take out your base, or it doesn't have any effect whatsoever. And you need, generally speaking, you want 3 of the best base defense and an item called a grab shield, which allows them to fire twice. That's like my bare minimum if I don't want to be assaulted. Next, we have short range detection and long range detection. In base XCOM, these don't stack. It's an all or nothing thing. Having a short range and a long range won't increase the chance to find anything. So you just go with one of the best ones you have, and that's enough. Transfers show anything coming to this base from another base. Stores is another way to look at what you have and how much space it's used. And finally, your monthly cost. This is a per base screen right here, you can see each Sky Ranger cost me $500,000 a month in rent. Each Interceptor cost me $600,000 a month in rent or maintenance, or however you want to do it. Conversely, each of my soldiers cost me $20,000 a month to keep. Engineers $25 and scientists $30. That's why you never want to have them sitting around doing nothing if you have any options. Base maintenance is the total cost of all the base modules installed. And I'll run through the UFOpedia real quick just to show you what that is. And so we can see this is our end of month income, beginning of this month, and this is our maintenance that we're spending in this base. All right. Next up, we have our soldiers. We can have a list of our soldiers. They're all called Case Officer now because I have a mod for streaming. But for you, they'll have random names based on their country of origin. All right, and we can see the stats. And I will do a quick rundown of the stats, just so you know what they do. Time units is how many actions you can take in a turn. Moving costs 4, turning costs 1 for every 45 degrees. Shooting costs whatever the guns tell you they cost. Stamina is your energy. It allows you to, it gets depleted every turn a bit. So while in the beginning you'll be able to run, you spend all 60 time units running, 10 turns down the line, you might only have half your stamina left, so you can only run a bit, and then you'll have to fire or hide. Health is how much damage you can take. In the beginning, odds of you surviving a shot are very small, not really that important. Bravery is your chance of panicking if your morale drops too low. Morale is not listed. It's something that shows up only in battles. Lower bravery is bad if you don't want to panic, but you only panic when one of your friends die and your morale drops below 50, or if you get hit by a panic mind control spell. I'm sorry, a panic PSI spell. Bravery has no effect on whether you can be mind controlled. Repeat after me. Bravery has no effect on whether you can be mind controlled. It's a big problem that people think that you panic them a couple times and then mind control them. That's not how that works. Reactions are your chance of reacting. The way it works, your reactions times your percent of time units remaining. So if you don't do anything, you have 100 time units remaining at the end of a turn, and your reactions are at 50. You have 50 reactions. That means you have a 50% chance of reacting to something happening in front of you. All right? And every time the alien, it's compared against the aliens, the exact same numbers. So in the beginning, if they have more time units than you and they fire a shot, you might not react. But if they drop down to 10% time units left after the last shot, then you have a very good chance of reacting. That's how that stat works. Firing accuracy is a number that gets multiplied by your weapon's firing accuracy to show not really your percent to hit, which is also a misnomer, but it's the bigger it is, the better. Easy enough to remember. Throwing accuracy is how accurate you are at throwing. Melee accuracy is actually not used in vanilla XCOM. I don't know why it's there. Your only melee weapon in this game has a 100% chance to hit. It's fantastic. And your strength is how much you can carry. If you carry more than you have strength, you will start the turn with reduced time units. But you can always pick more things up during a mission and drop them before you end a turn, and it won't have any effect on you. It's only between turns where the strength versus time units are taken into effect. All right. Other things you have in here, we have no armor available yet. You can equip it here. You can get rid of them with SAC, and diary is a nice thing from OpenXcom now. If you have one of the latest nightlies, and you can see where they've been, who they've killed. It's fun for stats. All right. The only thing rank does, by the way, is affect how much morale other people lose when you die. It doesn't really have any other effect of note in battle, and this is, of course, the craft they are on. Next up, we have Equip Craft. These are our available crafts. We have the Sky Ranger. So all these screens are the same. What is available here is different depending on the craft. So the Sky Ranger, as I said, is your default troop transport. You click on crew, you can add more members. You see we still have 6 space available, so we can get more guys. Equipment is what we have available. Pistols, rifles, heavy cannons, all the starting weapons in XCOM have their uses, although some more than others. A lot of people don't ever use pistols. A lot of people use a lot of rockets. I like them. We have grenades and we have smoke. Now I'm just going to throw everything on just so we can have it available. All right, and armor, we have no armor yet. This is another screen where you can equip your armor for your whole squad at once, which is really nice. All right, now for our interceptor type crafts, you can see they have weapon systems here. And they have these options. In the beginning, you start off in your base with 2 stingrays, 4 cannons, and 1 avalanche. One craft, I like to put a stingray and an avalanche. The second craft, I like to put 2 stingrays. I don't ever use the cannons. Ever. All right. We'll get that set up. Now, I showed you the build facilities, but in the beginning, what you have available, living quarters, more people. General stores is actually a nice thing to add right away for more space. Laboratory, more scientists. Workshop, more engineer capacity. Radar, we talked about. Missile defenses, not useful. General stores, alien containment, we talked about. And hangar for more crafts. I never have more than 3 hangars in a single base. I always find it's better just to make another base that gives me another place to put a radar so I can see better. The research screen, I sort of ran through this real quick. Your number of scientists you have available, laboratory space available, and scientists allocated. In the research screen, 1 scientist takes 1 laboratory space, period. What you research doesn't matter. All right. You have your new projects, motion scanner, medikit, etc. As you find things in battle, you will get more stuff here. And you will unlock research as time goes on. I'm not going to spoil that for you. Just know that I like to start with laser weapons. Manufacture. The only difference between here and the research screen is that the things you make will take up workshop space on their own. So even though I have workshop space available 50, I will never be able to have 50 engineers working in this one space. All right? We can't build anything yet. We will shortly, and I'll show you then. Transfer. This is how you transfer items to other bases. It's pretty self-explanatory. We can purchase more soldiers, scientists, and engineers. All right. I like to buy another avalanche. I like to buy, let's see, I had 6 available. I haven't played vanilla for so long. So we're going to buy a soldier, 2 more soldiers, so we have 10. And actually, we're going to buy a few more, so we have extra in case when someone dies. 1 tank, I like a tank rocket launcher with 10 rounds. I think they hold 8 available. These are all the things we have to buy. All these will be in your UFOpedia. Read about them. Heavy cannon. AP is armor piercing. HE is high explosive. And incendiary is I is incendiary. I will explain the uses of those later and why some are great and some are not so great. Just know that these are really heavy, so even though these do more damage than the rifle, they seem like a better choice all around. They actually, very few people will be able to carry them. You can see I'm out of space already. And then we have grenades, obvious. Smoke grenades, drop smoke. Can I actually free up any space? I think 8 will be enough. Let's do 10 there, and we'll just not buy any of those. I don't use heavy cannons all that much. All right, proximity grenades are landmines. They're great. They're dangerous. You will run over your mines all the time. I do all the time. Smoke is the way to actually play this game properly if you're starting out. It's very hard otherwise. High explosives are really big bombs, but they're really heavy, and you can't throw them very far. Stun rods are a way to melee enemies, the only way in vanilla. And electroflares are light sources at night. You can avoid most night battles if you're careful. All right. And conversely, cell sack, it's just the flip side of that other one. You can just sell stuff you know you're not going to need. For me, it's cannons and pistols. I don't use them in vanilla. All right, and that will free up a good amount of space, which we can then use to purchase some more stuff that I want. More electroflares, a couple more stun rods, and more grenades. I'll use a lot of smoke early on. And you have 3 rockets, small, large, and incendiary. I don't know why you'd carry smalls unless you have a guy who can barely pick it up in the first place. But that is neither here nor there. So the game loop. In the beginning, you're guaranteed to have 2 things spawn in your starting region. A UFO mission and a terror mission. You will get a terror mission every single month in this game. All right, so here's our first UFO. It's a very small. Now, what you can do is you can send your interceptor out to try to shoot it out of the air, or you can send a Sky Ranger out to follow it. UFOs will not attack your Sky Ranger. Unlike Xenonauts, they aren't an aggressive thing. They're passive. You can attack them, or you can ignore them. They won't do anything else. Every time you shoot down a UFO, there is a chance it will trigger an alien retaliation mission. So keep that in mind. You will lose... The aliens will gain a point or two for every hour or half hour they're flying above the Earth. But otherwise, it's not that big of a deal. I'm going to send you to this small UFO. And you can... We're just going to go around here. He flew out of our radar so we couldn't see him. Here we have a small UFO. I'm not going to shoot this down. I'm going to follow it. And you follow it by hitting that button right there. This also allows you to stack up to 4 craft on a UFO. Otherwise, time is paused when you're in the screen. This here is called the cautious attack. As you can see, it's outrunning because it's faster than us. The cautious attack will let us to do weapon ranges, and I'll show that to you in a second. We can now see that the UFO has landed. And as I said, we don't normally want to do night missions. But in the beginning UFOs, a landed UFO is very valuable. So we'll go ahead and drop this guy down there. And I'm going to go ahead and save it before we do that. All right. So now that we got landed on the UFO, whether it's crashed or landed, we will be put it into the equip screen. Now there's a couple options you can do where you can see stats on the startup screen in the base game options. I recommend you turn them on. Most importantly in the beginning is weight and accuracy. You can see all our guys are rather weak and rather inaccurate. What we're going to do is we're going to take our strongest guy, who had 39 I do believe, and we're going to give him a rocket launcher. Alright. 16 out of 39, and we'll throw some rockets in his backpack. Perfect, he can carry everything. And if we want, we can throw a pistol in his belt, which he can't carry. So ignore that. We'll throw a grenade there. Or even a better, a smoke. Now, in the very beginning, you can pre-prime grenades if you have that option enabled. The way this works is every turn, the timer will tick down by 1. And then it will sit at that number until you throw it. Alright? So, for example, if I set this down at 2 turns, what'll happen is I'll have my action go. It'll tick down to 1. The aliens will have their action go, and then it'll be at 0. As long as it's on your person, it will not blow up. If we wanted to explode at the very end of our turn before the aliens can react, you set it at 0. If you wanted to go at the end of the alien turn, you set it at 1. I have never used anything outside of 0 and 1 ever, since they always count down in your hand anyways. I just don't know why. It's either end of your turn or end of alien turn. Ignore all this stuff. So I pre-prime my smoke grenades. You can also pre-prime your normal grenades if you want. I think that's a little bit cheaty because throwing is very accurate in the beginning of the game, and it's a great way to level your guys. And the balance to that is it takes 25% of your time units to prime in battle. Alright, our next strongest guy is going to be 34. As you can see, we're just going to cycle through. We'll give you the heavy cannon. And we have some heavy cannon high explosive, and inside we can, if you have a hand free, you take your gun and you click on the unload button, and then you can pull the ammo out and see what it is. We have heavy cannon AP. It's nice having the high explosive ammo early on because your guys are very inaccurate. And we will go ahead and also give you a smoke. I like to give everyone a smoke and pre-prime it because I'm a cheating bastard. Next up is another 34. We will give you the autocannon. And I think I only have the auto piercing for the autocannon. Very heavy weapon. This one might be better off on the more accurate guy, but I think you're actually there. Yeah, you got the 62 and 34. Alright. We will give you a smoke grenade. I might actually give you a normal grenade as well, since not pre-prime. I think that's cheaty. You right-click to prime here, right-click off of it to undo it, and you can also unprime a grenade by right-clicking it in the screen as well. I don't think you can unprime a grenade in vanilla once you're in battle. Just keep it on your person or throw it far away where it won't hurt anyone if you don't want to do it. Alright. So now we got most of the guys out. We'll just do standard equips. These buttons here allow you to save a template, so I can go like this. I can give you a rifle, a spare clip. Your shoulders, your cross shoulder is the fastest way to reload, although the time unit difference is a matter of like 1 or 2. Belts are pretty damn fast, legs are pretty damn fast, backpacks are really slow. The game will do the action of putting it in your hand and putting it in the gun time unit wise for the reload, even if your hands are full. Alright, we'll throw a grenade and a smoke, and we'll put those there. And now you can save, and now you can go ahead and copy this template on other people as you go along. And you can see it, not enough. That means we're out of smoke grenades. That's fine. We can do it again. And we, one more, are good to go. The other thing we had here was X, and that just clears it out. And you can also press X on your keyboard for the same effect. I think C and V also work as well if you wanted to. Alright. So, our first mission is nighttime. Problem with nighttime missions is that aliens can see, they are not affected by the darkness. You can normally see 20 tiles in front of you. At night, you can only see 9. Aliens can see 20 tiles during the night or during the day. So a good first move is to take that grenade, put it in my hand, and I'm just going to throw one here. And I am going to take, you don't have a grenade, which is a slight problem. And I'm going to see if I can throw one over your shoulder and over here. There, perfect. Alright. The reason I don't like exiting off the craft with rookies early on is because any alien close to the craft is going to be looking at it. This did not happen in the original XCOM. They would just be randomly facing, so it was safer to disembark. They balanced this out by not allowing the aliens to throw grenades within the first 1 or 2 turns. So in the original, you wanted to get off the craft as quick as possible because there was nothing stopping a guy right here, out of sight, from throwing a grenade right in there and killing everyone immediately, losing the mission, losing the craft, and all your gear. It happens. Alright, now before we do anything, you saw me take the grenades and throw them. This button allows me to kneel, and I like to kneel my front guys because it allows the guys behind them to shoot over their shoulders. The other thing I like to do is I don't want to react with you because you can, rookies will miss and they'll hit here, or it'll hit here, or it'll just like hit right here. It happens. What you can do is you can right click this button right here, the guy with the 0 over it, it'll 0 out his time units, he can no longer react. I will also do that with this guy because he has an explosive round as well. So the 2 guys with explosive ammunition will not be able to react. These guys won't back here because they won't be able to see anything, but just so you know, that's an option. Now, the other confusing part of XCOM are what all these freaking buttons do. Alright? So let's start in the beginning. This moves the view. No, this moves a guy up or down. You will only ever use this when you're flying. You can also have, or on elevators. We won't see those in the tutorial, but an elevator is a red square with sparkly lines going up, and then you can use this to go up and down the elevator. This will move your view up or down a tile. I have mine set up so I can do that with my mouth buttons as well. This right here will show you the map, and it gives you a top-down view. Each of the white squares is an item on the ground, and each of the flashing yellows is something alive. You can see we had a white square under this guy. You can see he's right there. This is where all the gear you have left over in your craft is lying on the ground. If a grenade falls right here, you lose all your extra gear. In the original game, you were limited to the number of items you could bring because of memory, but now you could bring your entire base on the craft if you wanted to, and all that will happen is you will lose it. And I have done that many times. I've lost hundreds of millions of dollars worth of gear by bringing too much on the craft, and I never learn. Next up, we have this button that brings up the inventory. You can cycle through your soldiers while in the inventory by doing this. Side note, if you mind control an alien, you can go into its inventory by going into one of your soldiers and moving this way to find their inventory so you can drop their weapons. Next up, we have this button. This centers the view. If I'm over here, I can just click that. It'll center the view on the selected guy. This moves to the next unit, but leaves the old guy in rotation. All right? He's still available. This moves to the next unit and takes him out of rotation. So let's say I'm completely done with this case officer. I'll go like that. And now if I cycle through, we will not go back to that guy. We'll just go to the next one in the list. So when I'm playing a mission, I like to put everyone in position, hit that button, and then I know that no one available is left to go. All right, you can also click on a unit to select them individually. All right. The other things we can do with a unit selected, we can right-click to look in circles, and I'm pretty sure in this one we can right-click a door to open it, which you could not do in the original. This button here turns on all the visible layers or not. This is good for knowing whether you have a roof over your head, which affects any arced weapons, or finding out what is around there. And then finally we have, this is our options: load, save, abandon, and game options. The game option I was talking about is, let's see here. The ones that I really recommend you turn out or turn on is aggressive retaliation is not fun unless you know what you're doing. Custom initial base. This is what allows me to build my base as I like it in the beginning. If you turn this off, you'll get the standard XCOM base. There's nothing wrong with it. I just have my own way of doing things. Allow building queue is nice. What allows me to place a building next to an unfinished building just so I can get that out of the way. Storage limit for recovered items is what gives you the numbers of what is in your base in terms of weight and actually enforces them. They were not enforced in the original game. In the original game, you only needed one alien containment in one base and you had unlimited alien storage. This actually turns that on. Anything else that's really big? Not really. Those are the big ones. In the Battlescape, I like using UFO extender accuracy. Some people don't. What it does is it makes the maximum range for aimed, snap, and auto shots different before you have an accuracy penalty. In the original game, auto shot all the time. No questions asked. That's how it worked. And the other thing is explosion height. Flat, the original game is 0, which means if you threw a grenade here, anyone on this level of the map would be hurt by it, but if you were flying one tile above it, you were completely safe, which made grenades way too useful for you and way less useful for the bad guys. I have the full explosion dome, which extends it all out in all 3 levels. And I think those are the big ones. I have alternative movement. That allows you to sprint. We can ignore that. Skip next turn. You can go through and play with all of these. That is up to you. The only other thing I recommend really turning on is it Geoscape? Battlescape. Turning on the arrows is really nice, and the time units. And what that does is if I click this guy to move, I can click there, click once, and what it'll do is how many time units I'll have remaining when I get there. But more importantly, if I go here, I'll still have the ability to snapshot at the end of the turn. If I go here, I won't. So reactions can still come into play here. Before this, you would have to use these buttons here. Now what these buttons do, if I click it, this will let me move until I have, this will be reserve time units for snapshot, reserve time units for aim shot, and reserve time units for auto shot. You just move until you'd hit this number here. So 42, 13, or 18. I don't like using that anymore. And this is also kneel. So you can have enough to aim and kneel, which would cost me 42 plus 4 is 46. You can see this guy would not be able to move using that. So these buttons I never use. Turn off and click that one to spend them all. And then finally, if you click on a weapon, you have your options. Aim shot, snapshot, auto shot, time unit it takes to do such, and the accuracy. The biggest problem people have when it comes to these numbers is that this is not a percentage at all. This game is a hit scan game. It is not a dice roll. So what happens when you fire a shot, you have a cone of fire where your bullet will go until it hits something. Generally speaking, if you hit an aimed shot, 50% of the time you'll hit a target like 20 tiles away. Generally speaking. This number can go well above 100%. It can go 200% plus in some mods. Does not mean it's a guaranteed hit because of how hit scanning works. It means it can draw a single pixel line to that target, but there's always deviation to your bullet. Conversely, a 0% shot can hit. I think there's like a 1 in 16 chance you can hit someone at 10 tiles with a 0% chance. Simply because it's 0% means you have the biggest possible cone the game is allowed to draw, and the bullet can go anywhere inside. So, hit scan bullets, not dice rolls. Ignore the percent. All this number is your weapon accuracy, the weapon's base accuracy, times your accuracy. So you have 42%, 42 base accuracy. That means this has a weapon accuracy of 115%. Multiplies your weapon times 115 or whatever that number is to get 52, which means you have a cone about twice as large as your target at X number of tiles is how that works out. If you are right next to someone, it is almost impossible to miss them. Even if you had a 0% shot and you're standing right next to someone, you're going to hit them. Guaranteed, because they will be within that cone. All right, long first turn. All that stuff said. This aborts. We don't need to do that. Do not be afraid to abort missions. We'll end the turn and our smoke will go off. Smoke lowers the ability for people to see you as much as the aliens. All right, what we're going to do, I'm going to have the corner of the map right here. As you can see, I can't move that out anywhere. We're going to move you. I know there's no one out here, so we're just going to move you over here. I'm holding down control to sprint, and that's the advanced movement options I was talking about. And we're going to hide out here. Now notice, all of your guys have light sources. Which means that even if the aliens couldn't see in the dark, they can see you. You can turn those off by pressing L. All right? I wouldn't recommend it because then you can't see your guys. I'm going to go run. I'm sprinting. I love the sprint. And now we can see, we actually see someone. This number pops up right here when you have a visible guy. Something to note. Squad sight exists for everyone all the time. If we were really sure, if we had all the time units, we could try to send a rocket in, hit that guy, or at least blow up the wall. We can see that it looks like he's looking this way, so he can't react to us. I'm going to move you against the wall. Whoops. I'm going to move you against the wall so you're not exposed. As you can see, if I hold down control, I can just make it. Sprinting lowers the cost of movement by 25%, so 3 per tile instead of 4 per tile, but it severely increases the use of energy, so he will have no energy at the end of the turn. All right, I'm going to move you over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to throw, you don't have smoke, so ignore what I just said. I'm going to find someone with smoke available still, since we only had a couple. I'm going to get you outside, and I might not have enough to throw it. Oh, 13. All right, I'm going to smoke this window. So we threw a grenade there. If you're never sure where your grenade goes, you can press the map, and you can see it standing right there. You'll often lose your dangerous grenades on missions like this, and you'll have to do your best to not blow up your own troops. All right, another thing you can do with your forward scouts, or people who have smoke, is you can go... do you have it where I can show you? All right, we can do this. We can bring a guy up here, and this is a really good tactic for your forward scouts. We can bring him to the edge where you can see. So we have 2 guys in there, very dangerous. And I can either throw the smoke, or if I don't have enough, I can even go out here, right? And I can drop the smoke at my feet, which will be a lot faster than having to throw it. And since smoke doesn't harm you, this is a very good way to get it out. Now, word of the wise. They can't throw grenades on this turn. But anytime after this turn where an alien will see two guys close like this, like really close, they're going to really want to throw a grenade. So do your best to keep your guys spread out just enough where there's a good chance they won't get hit by a grenade. So like 4 tiles is great. Like this is a nice distance. It's possible they could still blow up both of them, but I don't think the alien throws between people. They throw it at people, and anyone within X number of tiles of that guy will sort of trigger the I really want to blow this guy up scenario. All right, so we have you here. We're going to move you forward a little bit since we're going to have smoke covering that window. And we could try to take a shot at this guy. We have a 5% chance. That's really small. As you can see, this is the special accuracy. I'm going to turn on base accuracy. Oops, just so it's not confusing. Let's go turn off UFO extender accuracy setting. All right. So now what happens is this 17% is going to be all the same. It doesn't actually show it on the cursor anymore because it never changes. So now we have 17% to hit you. And as you can see, I think we hit this guy. No, we just missed him. 3 shots out. I think we hit him once. I think we might have hit our guy once, but he survived and he's good to go. The other thing you can do, we can force fire. If you, oh my goodness. All right. I was going to say, you can hold down control to force fire if you can't do something. So I can hold down control, click behind this wall, and it'll shoot in this trajectory. Anything in its way be damned. It'll probably hit that and explode. If you had someone in front of you, it would probably hit them because that's how it works. What we're going to do is we are going to kneel to boost our accuracy a fair amount, and we're going to try to get it inside this window. I say that, but no, we're not, because if I do that, it's going to hit here, or here, or here, or here, or here, and kill this guy. So let's just skip that. We'll end this turn and see what happens. There we go. Being in the smoke is not a cure-all. It just lowers the maximum range. Within a couple tiles, they are still likely to hit you. All right, we have a floater up on that window. We are going to try to auto-shot him. All right, do we have enough? I could do a snapshot and then move. So let's do that. All right, you see he reacted because I have almost no time minutes left. And we're going to just get out of the way there. Probably going to die, my friend. We can move you forward. And you have a grenade, so let's go ahead. We'll prime this grenade. 0 turns. That means as soon as it lands on the ground, it'll explode at the end of the turn, whether or not I throw it or whether they kill me and it falls off my dead corpse. So we're going to keep a little space around her. We're going to get a grenade for you as well. Grenades are good. Grenades are life. Let's try to move forward and see if we can get a firing angle on this guy. Now, just because I can't see this guy doesn't mean I can't shoot at him. We can try to see if we have a line of fire there. And we do. So as I said, every one of your soldiers, if you're familiar with the new XCOM, has squad sight built in. There is no penalty for shooting outside of firing range in original XCOM. Abuse it. Use it and abuse it. So the nice thing about this is he is outside of their vision range, so there will be no reaction fire. It's the best way to avoid reaction fire is to not be seen when you fire. And I am not going to fire. I'm just going to leave you there, potentially to react, and probably kill this guy. And then we have our big rocket launcher. The rocket launcher is your sniper rifle early game. It's the most accurate weapon you have, bar none. And because it has an explosion radius, it allows for some flub. I am going... Oh, that's unfortunately just inside this wheel well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to move you over here. And then next turn, we are going to attempt to shoot a rocket inside this building. Next turn. And I'm just going to bring you out here to take a peek. We cannot go over these fences because XCOM soldiers do not know how to hop. But we will go and look. All right. Everything you see on the map is there in 3D space. Maybe not exactly as you see it, but it is all a true 3D environment. So it might block a bullet that wouldn't hit you in the first place. It's hard to explain it the right way. All right. Well, they're coming out to say hello. So now this is an example of how accuracy is irrelevant. Oh, you have an explosive ammo, so don't hit a guy 1 tile away from you with explosive ammo. All right. He can almost not miss. So this is a good place to stand. And now we can see we have our first dead floater with some weird alien artifacts. We can't use these until we research them. Leave them on the ground. We'll bring them home. The brainers will take a look at what they got. All right. First thing first, we're going to go and risk these guys. We're going to step you back a little bit and punch a hole in this wall. And we're going to see if we can find an angle where you can shoot through that window. There you go. Lit a fire. Got some light. Killed a floater. I like poetry. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to bring you forward as a scout. We're not going to fire with you, because it looks like that guy has a pistol, and the way reactions work is that it only uses a snapshot. The cheaper your snapshot, the more likely you are to fire. We are going to go and throw this grenade. I'm under an engine, so let's move out of the engine, and we'll try to throw the grenade right here, right next to him. And that looks perfect within 1 tile. You're going to stay right here. You are not going to move, because any movement I do now might trigger a reaction shot. We don't know how many time units he has left. If he survives the end, if he survives that grenade, there's a good chance that we will be able to react with our weapon and kill him. This is a 2-handed weapon, so having anything in your offhand will lower your accuracy by a little bit. Just a heads up. Pistols are 1-handed, of course, so they are great to have with grenades in the offhand or anything like that. All right, we are at the point where my guys, as I said before, they're a little bit too grouped up for comfort, so we're going to move them around. Avoid any hostile grenades. All right, and we can see you. I am not going to take this shot. I am tempted to sprint, and I can't sprint anywhere useful, and I can't go anywhere to hide. So we're going to stay there and just hope this kills him. Odds of him killing both of us are about 50-50 at this point, and we will just work with that. If you get floaters your first month, they're the best first month enemies to face. While they can fly, they are overall the least harmful, with the least harmful terror units, among other things. All right, we have another one here. I'm trying to see if I can get here. Straight line with this window with enough time units to aim. I cannot. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk, save the energy, and we're going to try to snap through that window, and we missed. Didn't kill ourselves, but we did clear a hole. Which, while I am tempted to try to get a rocket through there, I am not going to do it because it is extremely dangerous. And what we're going to do is we're going to do an auto shot on this guy and hope he's already wounded from the other explosions in the area. All right, we have killed our 3 floaters. What I'm going to do, 4 floaters, excuse me. I'm going to keep you there. I'm going to move you forward and just peek inside. All right. It's always nice to have a wall to your back, so you can only view one angle. Now, XCOM agents can see in basically a 90-degree cone from their face. If I stand in this corner facing out 45 degrees, I can see right along here and right along here. So no one can walk into here without me seeing them or come up behind me. Same thing with this. I can put you here and also view out that way. I very much like to keep my guys against a wall almost at all times. I hate this guy's position because there could be anyone over here in the dark that we can't see. So I'm going to move you up to this wall and cover that line of sight. Now, because as I said, everyone has line of sight or squad sight, everyone can be a sniper, I'm going to have this guy here Going to reload his rocket, and he's going to stay basically right here. He can shoot anyone he sees that's not blocked by terrain in pretty much any direction. He might hit this fence and kill himself, but I mean, it's XCOM. Lower the odds of killing himself by putting him right there. He doesn't have to move unless there is something physically blocking his sight. Otherwise, he can just squad snipe anyone else around him. Now, this guy is still 16. Can he snap? He cannot. So we'll keep him back a bit where he is in less danger. And then we will move this guy to keep an eye on this little corridor right here. All right. So that pretty much covers everyone. No one has time units left to do anything, so we'll end the turn and see if anyone comes out. All right, now that sound you heard was a door opening and closing, and because I played this for thousands of hours, I know there is a door right here, and it's the only door that makes that noise on this map. So there is most likely an alien right around here, one of these angles. What we'll do is we'll bring you around with alternative movement methods, the best thing ever added. You can hold control and click next to you, and you will strafe, which is very important. There is something called first, I forget the exact term, but it's first contact. If you and an alien see each other for the first time in a turn, you get the first move. So by strafing around a corner, that allows me to look and then run away. If I were to walk out in the original game like this, he'd be able to see, if he was looking here, he'd be able to see me, and my act of turning might trigger reaction fire. So with the alternative movement, make use of it. It is great. Don't neglect it. All right, we're just going to move within cover to get close to that UFO. We're not going to stack our guys up too close because, again, grenades are always a threat at this point. And the one thing sniper or floaters have over us is they can fly. There's nothing stopping a guy from flying up here and coming at us from behind. So we'll keep a guy or two back. And of course, we're keeping you here with your relatively accurate 85, not 85%, 85, covering our back. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Still coming off my cold. All right, everyone is in position. We're ready to react if necessary or go around the corner. And there we go. So we know we have two guys. We know we have one guy right here because he's right in front of us, and we have one guy in the dark over here that we can't see. So I'm going to take care of this guy first. He did not fire, so he might have enough time units to do so, but I'm going to take the chance and get closer so I don't miss. There we go. Now, these early aliens can be killed by your rifles. Later on, that is not a guarantee. All right, so we're going to take a peek. Now, I know that these walls are good cover, this hedge. So I'm going to use that to sneak this way and block this line of sight. Now, someone can see you, but he already fired, so I know he can't react on me. And he's over here somewhere. I'm not going to take this shot because you can actually get killed at the end of the turn. I'm going to find someone who might have a grenade on him, potentially, and see if I can lob it over. If not, I will wait until next turn. You have a grenade. We will prime it. And I don't think I'll be able to throw it this turn. No, but we will move around here. So all I have to do next turn is step out and throw it. Now I'm also going to move out here because I'm pretty sure there's no one in this direction. Otherwise he would be dead by now. And we are going to go ahead and move you forward. Get ready for the next guy that might come out. All right, with your 53, I am going to move you back here. Even one more back, because sometimes you can just barely see around the corner depending on your angle. And you would actually be safer right here, so this guy who is over here would have to fly this way. And the reason I move this guy here is because if he flies out here, I want him to be safe since he has a grenade in his hand. And then we will move you right over here. So there's something between the guys that I know you're here and over here, and there's something between us, so they cannot see us at the end of the turn. Like in playing Enemy Within on Impossible, breaking LOS is key. If you know where they are, there's a good chance you can hide. All right, so this guy came out here. Very nice of him. I will move you next door. This unnamed case officer is going to go ahead and get all the kills this mission. All right, I don't even think that guy had any weapons. Ah, he had a pistol. All right, so we know that guy's there. Oh, we know they're both there. Excellent. That was a very good scout. So I can move him, but then I'll lose these indicators right here. So I'm not going to do that. They cannot react to him unless he does something. They can only react to something that's happening actively. This guy is way out in the boondocks with a good chance he's acting as my sniper. So there we go. We had a great hit as a sniper. I'm going to go ahead and try to throw this grenade right here. And it looks like... Oh, I aimed right here, but it fell right on his head. So I think the guys will be taken care of. I'm going to put you back behind cover. I'm going to leave these guys right here because there's no need to move them this turn. There we go. Mission accomplished. 1 XCOM operative killed. For your first mission, I'd say that's pretty good. All right, aliens killed, alien corpses. Alien artifacts recovered is 15. That's nice. This number will go down as you research them, but you still get the stuff. Now, the reason I didn't shoot down this UFO was because I wanted everything intact on my first mission if possible, since it's most likely the easiest mission you'll get in the game. On the small UFO, you'll get 1 power source, 2 navigation, 11 alien alloys, and 50 Elerium-115, along with their weapons. You literally do not have to do another mission outside of score until you go to capture a special leader, which you will find about as you research the game. I have everything I need almost to go to Mars right now from that one mission. And now we have our stats. Time units, stamina, hit points, and strength. You will be able to level up by doing almost anything in the mission. All right, as long as you're active in the mission, those will level up. You will gain accuracy by doing damage on an enemy. Even throwing a grenade, if that grenade explodes and hits an enemy, it'll level your firing accuracy in vanilla. I don't know why it works, but it does. That's why grenades and rocket launchers are great ways to train up firing accuracy on your really inaccurate guys. You get points for throwing anytime you throw. Makes sense? Anything. It could be an unprimed grenade. It could be a corpse. It could be an electrofire, a light source. All those count towards throwing. A bravery, you can level up if your morale drops really low and you don't panic. Completely random in vanilla. Don't worry about it. I never do. Reactions, every time you react to an alien, there's a chance you get experience for it. You do so many actions, you get points. If you want to guarantee experience, you have to do an action 12 times in a mission. So if you have a guy that throws a light source 12 times, he will be guaranteed to get experience. You can it only takes 1, but the more you do, the more likely you'll get experience. Melee, you use the stun rod. That's all there is in vanilla, and it's irrelevant. Psychic strength and psychic skill, you won't be able to see these until you build a PSI lab, which will happen as you recover live aliens. So use those stun rods. Try to get at least 1 live alien of every type, especially if they are a leader or an engineer. All right, and final thing, see the score right here, 223. The very first mission would completely negate the point loss for having a base, an alien base, for an entire month. So don't worry about bases. If it's an easy one like floaters or mutons, I know it sounds bad if you know what I'm talking about, but those are the 2 really easy bases to do. If they're ethereals or snake men, you can just leave them. There's no real need to do bases other than capturing 1 specific alien to get to Mars. All right, so we haven't built our first storage facility, and we do have storage limits exceeded already because we actually care about that. If you turn that off, you don't have to worry about this, but it does give you the chance to sell stuff you don't need. I know I'm not going to be using pistols. I can sell those. You can see that brings me down 0.8. I also know that I am going to get way more plasma rifles or plasma pistols or heavy plasmas than I will ever need in this game. And you only ever need one corpse, so I'm going to sell that there. All right, and that will give me almost enough space. I'm going to sell a navigation. Make sure you leave one of everything for later. Make sure you leave one of everything for later. And then the big one is going to be Elerium. Now, some people are going to scoff, like, why are you selling Elerium? I do a lot of landed UFOs, so it's not a big deal. I'm going to sell, I don't know, I'm going to sell 20 of them off. All right, I'll be up in 1 second. And then, let's see, what else can we get rid of? What else do I know I won't need? I'll probably get rid of some of these Stingray missiles. And then there we go. If you don't want to worry about this, turn off limits. And then this is stuff that we use that are in my craft equip that we don't have enough of. And I've already bought more of these already, so they're coming in. All right, we got our promotions. And we have our dead case officer who did nothing. He died on his first mission before he could fire a shot. So we come back from our mission, and now we have new research available. A lot of people skip laser weapons early on, and they'll just go right and research this plasma rifle right off the bat, and you'll be able to use them immediately. All right? What you're going to do is you're going to research stuff, you're going to find a way to solve the alien threat, and then you're going to beat the game. And that's basically all it is. The one thing I want to do is, all right, we'll go back home. We had him patrolling looking for that small UFO. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward really quick. We'll ignore this. And what I want to do is I want to go ahead and get the pistol, and just so I can show you the... Oops. Just so I can show you the manufacturing screen. Now that we had all this money from this mission and selling this stuff as well, the next thing you want to do is you want to get to 50 scientists as soon as possible. I'm going to go ahead and max out my living quarters because I can. And since it has spare money, and I know I'm going to need more living quarters, I'm going to go ahead and build more living quarters. And this is the queuing option, as you can see. This isn't built yet, but it does allow me to queue it. And if you can see what I'm doing here, I put the small radar here because I know I'm going to get rid of this eventually. And I like to build my bases so that in the end, we will have buildings here, 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 and here. And open will be these spots right here. And that means if we get invaded, everything will have to come in either through the access lift or through the hangars. So they have to come through this funnel and come get me. It's a very good way to guarantee a successful base defense. I'm just canceling these. You're going to want to do these. I want the scientists on there. Throw them all on there, and we'll see if we can get some laser pistols being built before the end of the month. There we go. Another landed. This is a great one. If you don't want alien retaliations, don't shoot down small UFOs. Follow them with your Sky Ranger and wait for them to land. If you don't care, or if you're playing on an easier difficulty where alien retaliations are much less likely to happen, then shoot down everything. Get the points. That's fine. All right, we got our laser pistol. It's a new UFO PD entry, and we can see here that this laser pistol does 46 laser damage. The damage, all aliens have certain resistances in the game, and it has a base accuracy of 68. So this multiplies your firing accuracy number times 68% to get that number. Same with auto snap named, and then the timing it costs. This will take, means I can do, without moving, if I don't even turn, I can do 4 autos in 1 turn. 12 shots without moving is almost guaranteed to kill everything prior to, I don't know, ethereals with a pistol, or 5 snaps, which means if you react, this is a great weapon to have ready to go to react, or 1 aimed shot with 45% timing is left over. So 46 laser pistol damage. As you can see, it out damages our rifle immediately at the cost of accuracy. Completely outclasses our normal pistol and starts to compete with the damage of our heavy cannon, minus the accuracy. And then this will go to laser rifle. Laser rifle will go to heavy lasers. I never use heavy lasers. Don't use heavy lasers. Some people say you need them for sectopods. I've been playing this for 25 years. You don't need heavy lasers for sectopods. They're horrible weapons. But then heavy lasers will go to laser cannons, which is something you can theoretically equip on your craft, but that's not how you use laser cannons. I will show you what we would do with laser pistols. All right, we go to allocate manufacture. We can see right here, we click the laser pistol is now available. It'll cost us 8,000 per unit and 2 workspace required. That's what I was talking about before. We start production. I'm going to throw all my engineers, and you can do all by right-clicking the number or just left-click and do it that way. And I know right off the bat, I want to build 10 to have, all right? If I click OK, this will allow me to build 10. Now, as you can see, I have 10 engineers and 2 workshop space required, which means I still have 38 available. If I was doing nothing but making laser pistols, at most I can have 48 engineers working on them with 1 workshop. You build another workshop, it just adds 50 to the space available. Now, if you want to make money, let's say I built the laser pistols and I have nothing else to do, and I got my engineers sitting around doing nothing. What you do is you click this sell button, and then you right-click top, and it'll make these non-stop and sell them immediately. And this way, we can make some money with our engineers idling about. Now, the problem is, an engineer costs $25,000 per month. One engineer, actually, in XCOM, the whole economy is completely broken. Engineers can pay for themselves making laser pistols. You won't make much of a profit, as you can see. You will make $29,000 a month. I don't know if that will cover the actual price of the workshop, but the engineers become free as soon as you have laser pistols. So when you start making laser cannons, you can make a base with like 3 workshops full of engineers making laser cannons, selling them nonstop, and that's all they do. And you can lose every country on the planet and still come out the richest organization in the world. Maybe even the universe. So that, an hour in, I'm going to split this up. That is OpenXcom, or XCOM in general. XCOM 94, XCOM Terror from the Deep are exactly the same. Terror from the Deep is just a reskin that is much harder than UFO Defense, but otherwise it's the same interface. So I hope all of this, the first mission, how to build your base, the game loop, has everything you need to know about how to play the game. If you have any questions you want to ask, drop them in the comments, and if we get a good number of them, I will do a frequently asked questions video. And I hope that works out for you. So I hope you all have fun murdering aliens. Really let that xenophobia shine. And I will catch you around later. Adios.